Hello, hello, hello. Hi, I'm Eddie Obeng, and this is How. Daily, I bring you a different way to change your world to do things. How is important. The why, yes. What, yes. But how do you get stuff done? That's what I focus on. You can think of me as Mr. How. And today, I'm going to help you think about how you shape your future and make it more familiar. Let's jump onto Cube, and I'm going to share with you the people engagement tool called FutureFamiliar. Here we are on Cube, where, as you know, the sun is always shining. Look at the sun up there above us. Great. Okay, so I'm working today out of something called the Quick Meet. The Quick Meet is a cubicle you can jump into in really just a few seconds. I think it takes 4 seconds. Was it 8 seconds? I can never remember. But there you go. I've just invited myself, and you hit the Quick Meet button, and then anyone can join you. So if you're having a text conversation, you join, and you come into this lovely little cubicle. And some of the pets you will already find familiar, like, for example, over here, there's the hopes and fears, which is how you start every single conversation on pets. There's a rapid if there are actions. There's a landolog if there are learnings to be taken from the session. Then there's a quick work cubicle over here. Whiteboard over here, which lets you in, tells you what's going on, and explains how everything works. And then, depending on what you want to do, you choose the right tab. Are you briefing somebody? Are you coaching somebody? Are you trying to make a decision? And it just throws up for you the very best pets which you could use. So this is the cubicle. Oh, it looks out over the suburban streets. Anyway, we're going for FutureFamiliar. Why do we have to worry about FutureFamiliar? It's really straightforward. Change has peculiar ways in which it works. There are laws of change. And if you've read my books, you'll know there are 7 laws of change. Law number 1, one change leads to another. Law number 2, adding change to change creates chaos. Law number 3 is the one we're concerned with today. And this is people create change and people constrain change. People create change and they constrain it. So they'll create change if they come up with the idea themselves, if they can actually feel some sovereignty and engagement over it, if it's built in their minds from an idea. They'll constrain change if it comes from outside. It's surprising, it's frightening, it's threatening. And those things are quite normal because of the way human beings have evolved to see change as a potential threat in their environment. So they tend to constrain change. So when you come to try and drive change, you can actually get it horribly wrong. One of the ways which sometimes people get change horribly wrong is they announce how new and different what they're doing is and how it's going to make a big difference. This is an iconic photograph. You may not know it, but this is New Coke. Coca-Cola, same formula for years. We're going to do a new one. Just basically, it wasn't so much that it tasted terrible, but the whole thing went against the 3rd law of change. It made people start to think that maybe they had to reject it because it was different, it was right. If they just said it's the same as the other one, but. So before I go any further, I have to highlight the ethics of persuasion. It's really, really important. So if you want full engagement, you do something like IDQB. That pet is a way of really giving people the power to control the decision and to buy into it. But this FutureFamiliar framework is particularly useful when you have to lead risk-averse people. It's still ethical. What you're doing is you're encouraging them to explore the future with you. And so you're still giving them power. You're respecting their human sovereignty and you're enabling them. Unethical things are the things you will see in real life, like the totalitarian tiptoe, where the government wants you to do something and they move you ever so slightly, a little bit at a time. They change the amount of money you have to pay, the tax goes up, blah, 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 etc. And then manufactured consent. I remember as a kid, I mean, in the UK now we have this thing called euthanasia, where basically you can top yourself whenever you like. But I remember as a kid, the joke, which wasn't the joke, was, there's a young kid who had to write an essay on euthanasia. And he said, well, in the Philippines, the boys like playing football. And it was to introduce us to the word euthanasia so that 20 years later they could persuade it was normal, because it's not a joke. It's not an interesting thing, but that's manufactured consent. You'd have seen that happening. That's generally sneaky and manipulative, and it's generally unethical. Please don't use these techniques for those things. I don't want you to. So let's have a look at this challenge which we've got with trying to get people to do things differently. I'm going to use as an example the evolution of telephones. Oh, that's funny. I've just done that twice and gone to the wrong place. Okay, there you go. Evolution of telephones. So this is big block telephones right the way through to the modern phones. This is a cartoon showing phones sort of evolving from one to the other. Now, the funny bit is this little gap here where we move from a phone with buttons to the iPhone. Steve Jobs, who was a genius, realized that that was a big jump. because all along it had been a slow evolution. One thing led to the other, one thing led to the other. So there's a famous, and I encourage you to go and have a look at this conference where he launches the iPhone. And he comes on stage and he says, today I've not got one product for you, I've got 3 products for you. I've got an iPod, a phone, and the internet. Now, everyone knew what the iPod was, everyone knows what phone is, and everyone knew what the internet was. So there's no surprise there, okay? And he says, and then he goes on to say, it's an iPod, but with lots and lots of music, blah, blah, blah. It's a phone, but it doesn't, you can phone anyone, but you can also, and you can scroll and do the internet. And he's introducing the iPhone, but he's linking it to things which people already know, so that it's something which is really familiar, with only this little tweak that doesn't have any buttons, with only this little tweak that stores the music locally. There's only this little tweak that connects to the internet all the time and can stream things. When we started with Cube, we used Steve Jobs as an inspiration, and we would say, well, Cube is just like a normal sort of video conference or VR environment with only a small tweak that actually the tools and behaviors you might use are built into it. And with only a small tweak that actually you're there as an avatar, so you can actually wander around as if you were at home and in an office and so on and so on. So we use this concept of linking to what people recognize, and this will be future familiar. So I'm going to just use this. A Cube call is using pets. This should be a capital T. Using the culture of writing first and talking second. That's what I would like to tell people about. But what I do is I say, it's almost the same as, and then I need to describe something they'll recognize. There's a need to get results from and inputs from a lot of people. Everyone recognizes that. You have a conference call, the leader is nervous and just talks nonstop. My definition of a conference call is one person talking and 20 people continue to do their emails, and no one's listening. And instead of bringing people in, because they haven't got a way of either engaging them on Cube, you do spin casting to bring people in. And also everyone's just looking at each other. They're not looking at the work. So I'd say it's almost the same as a phone call where you want to get results, okay, where you're nervous and you want everyone to engage, but without that big headache. And here you describe the with or without, and the very small change. It's just like a conference call, but people see the work and not the other people, just like you're looking at this pet and not at me. I'm a little square in the corner. And so the work is organized through these pets. So you can be really productive because you're looking at the work. And because it's the same as everything, everyone knows what to do. Everyone can work, and you can get all the work done and involve everyone, including the introverts. So that would be a future familiar on using a Cube call instead of a Teams call or a Zoom call or a webinar. So that's future familiar. You basically link the future to what we're doing. You try not your hardest not to be unethical and manipulate people. Don't do that. That's bad behavior. So there's a quick link. There's always a quick link. Have a look at the quick link. Learn some more. There's always a chance to subscribe to the newsletter. In fact, get your colleagues to subscribe. Then you don't have to teach them everything. They can learn for themselves. I've been Eddie Obeng. That was Future Familiar. Thank you.